Boys and girls, we're out here on a beautiful, lovely, sunny day. It was 43 degrees this morning, and now it's 71 and super sunny. God, I mean, it's just beautiful. Almost as beautiful as that fat ass forehead I got, boys. Look, can I get a holy forehead down in the comment section, please? Anyways, I wanted to talk with y'all about seven deadly frames. Seven deadly sins. I spent several deadly hours playing this game, and in several deadly hours, I only got 7 deadly pulls. Hey, all jokes aside, man, 7 deadly frames community. If you're enjoying the game, good for you, like legit. This video isn't to discourage anybody to play the game. It's really just to kind of share my thoughts, as I always do, in a very blunt and candid manner. I think this game is on the quality level of a Tower of Fantasy. That's just to put it nicely. I think this game reminds me of Blue Protocol, which, funnily enough, I enjoyed Blue Protocol. I thought it was quite decent. But if I were to put Blue Protocol on a rankings of MMO games that I've played, World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy 14, hell, Lost Ark, Elder Scrolls Online, it would go below all of those. It would literally go below all of those. It's like, I enjoy the game, but there's just better games out there to play. And when I played 7 Deadly Sins, the first thing I thought was the same thing everyone else thought. I was like, oh, another Genshin Impact clone. Oh, how fun. And I did a dedicated sponsored video for them about 3 months ago and thought the same thing. But I tried to point out the game's qualities. And I was like, wow, this game has in some ways, it has elevated what Genshin Impact made, which was, you got a mounting system. That's pretty cool. You got 3 weapons on one character that changes the very abilities that you utilize on the character, adding more depth, creativity, and variances to how you could play that character. I'm like, damn, that's really freaking cool. I actually like that idea. And then they've got, which is kind of like a double-edged sword, they got exclusive traversal and interacting abilities for each individual character that you play on the game. Some of them can literally fly. Some of them can throw fireballs from their hands. Some of them can just ascend into the air. And I think this is kind of cool. Some of them transform into a little creature and fly around. And I'm like, damn, that's really cool, except it's made by Netmarble. And we know how Netmarble games go the longer they're out. And so with the worrisome Gacha monetary system model, introducing traversal power creep to incentivize you to spend money or pull on a character you'd rather skip, well, that's just kind of a red flag for a game like 7 Deadly Frames, isn't it? And so that's one of the things I took into account. But I think the biggest thing for me that kind of just was it's literally the same exact aesthetic of art medium as Genshin Impact. It's the same type of vibe too. Genshin Impact has that ambiance and that tranquil, beautiful music that makes you go, as you're going through the beautiful cel-shaded anime world that gives off that Breath of the Wild feel. Guess what? 7 Deadly Sins is doing the exact same thing. And I think what people don't realize, or maybe they did realize it, but when you play a game that's a Genshin Impact feel to it, you're gonna have, at the bare minimum, Genshin Impact quality of expectation, polish, and refinement. And this game is literally, objectively inferior in quality, polish, and fine-tuning to Genshin Impact. So what do you think that's gonna do to a player that comes from Genshin and plays this game? They're gonna just feel like this feels like the game I already play, but worse. And when I was playing this game, I remember thinking to myself, wow, this combat feels jank. It feels like it's not finished yet, like it's undercooked. When I'm doing these abilities, they feel cheap almost. And I thought to myself, you know what? This game is a pseudo MMO, right? Which means they have a bit more resources that they have to make sure are optimized, because they have to take into account that multiple people are going to be running around on this server at once doing abilities at the same time, and that's kind of going to have an inherent drop in quality because they have to take into account that you can do your literal due diligence on this, guys. The reason MMOs always have a bit of a lack of polish and refinement is literally because of what I just mentioned. They have to take into account how many people are casting abilities at once, how many people are on the server at once sharing that world. And that just inevitably is going to take away from the game's polish. But the thing is, this game isn't an MMO. It's a single player game that's also full cooperative functional. And that kind of taught me something. I realized that maybe the reason why we don't get a lot of co-op in this space is because the lack of quality that's going to inevitably occur trying to take into account all of those players. And that's a problem right now that this game is facing. It's facing the the unfortunate problem of dropping quality in the expense of enabling full cooperative gameplay. But unfortunately, that doesn't feel good. It feels like ass. I remember when I was fighting this boss, I was doing the moves and I was just like, man, this sucks. Like, this does not feel good at all. And I was trying to swap between my characters like in a fluid manner, and it was like loading, brother. It was like fucking lagging in order to do that. And I was just like, bro, this feels like Genshin Impact, but worse. Why would I want to play a game that feels like Genshin Impact, but worse? I don't. And admittedly, I think I was pretty much having a decent time, but a decent time can be a better time playing all the other games that are coming out today. We've got tonight, Star Savior, which I'll be streaming that debut at launch. And I think what I want to talk about with you guys is, fellas, I am now at the point where I have my Genshin Impact. That's Wuthering Waves. I'm now at the point where I have a unique Genshin Impact experience. That's Arknight's Infield. And I genuinely mean that. Like, these guys did it correctly. They're doing the typical mainstream open world gacha game experience, but they gave their own true unique charm to it with the factory system, with their unique gameplay, their ability to explore. You can't really fucking fly around or do any crazy things like that. You got to build the zip lines and stuff. They created their own sense of identity. When I look at a game like Seven Deadly Sins Origins, I see the same exact explorative experience where they try to upgrade it by giving you mounts and giving you these unique traversal methods and stuff. But the problem is you don't have a real explorative experience in gacha games. Everything that makes an explorative experience fun is taken out of the game intentionally, so because they're going to monetize that to you instead, or they're going to restrict it from you because of their gacha currency model of you can only grind a finite amount of time within a day with their stamina system, right? And so when you go and play other games and you enjoy the explorative experience in those games, it's because you actually have real gear to go out and seek and find and grind for. You have cosmetic skins you might be able to find by rare spawn-ins of rare bosses and such. All of this makes exploring a lot more interesting. You're not going to have any of that in a gacha game. And so when you take a look at this Seven Deadly Sins Origins game and you say, oh, it's just trying to do the same thing that Genshin did, well, I'm already numb to that. I'm already numb to that experience. And so a lot of the good qualities you might have in your game has already been delivered to us by several other developers and gaming companies that we've experienced already. Like I said, Tower of Fantasy, brother, like we already had that experience in Tower of Fantasy, you know what I mean? And I think the biggest unfortunate thing about Seven Deadly Sins is your game released 3 to 4 years too late. At a time, people were looking for Genshin Impact, but co-op. At a time, we were like actually legitimately looking for just that. But in the big 2.6, nobody's looking for that fucking game anymore, brother. Like, we don't care about that. Hell, even the Genshin Impact fandom themselves doesn't care about that anymore. At this point, they're just in it for the story, and they're in it for the routine that they've been doing for the past several years. I say this to say, I think Seven Deadly Sins is, in fact, a decent, enjoyable game. But outside of the Seven Deadly Sins fandom, I don't think anybody's interested in that shit. I genuinely don't. The fandom can literally just be like, brother, I don't give a fuck what you do with this game. The fact that it has that IP, I'm going to play it. The fandom may have very well just wanted Genshin Impact, the inferior version, but with Seven Deadly Sins characters. Fandoms are easy to please. They're easy to satiate in terms of what they're an easy audience. That's the best way, you know, but everybody else burnt out on open world games, burnt out on the swap system, burnt out on the ambiance of tranquil sensation as you're going through the world and it's empty as hell and there's only treasure chests to collect with just fucking some pool currency that's like 0.5% of the pools that you can actually do. There's just so many things that I feel are outdated. And what's crazy about that is this game took 5 years to make. Somewhere around there, like, this was a big investment. Some people are calling it like a cash grab, but I'll be real. the amount of money you spent to make that game, I can't even count that as a cash grab. Maybe it was just more of a strategic design of them knowing that dropping this game, although it's gonna probably filter out a bunch of people who just look at it as like slop, they knew, though, the 7 Deadly Sins IP would probably carry it enough to keep it afloat. Because I'll be real, boys, the best case example is Tower Fantasy. I don't know how the fuck that game's alive, but it's not only alive, it's actually got some thrive in it. And so I don't think they're only gonna stay afloat. I think they'll stay afloat and actually make some pretty good profits. I genuinely do. However, I think that game's gonna tank down the Tower of Fantasy player base, which is not a lot of people. It's not a lot of people, but it's loyal people. You know, I think Escanor is probably gonna be their second ditch effort to bring people into the game. Everybody loves Escanor. But from there, I think it's literally just gonna go downhill to a very niche audience, and everybody else is gonna try out every other game around the gacha space. Those are pretty much all my thoughts. I think that game, I think it's outdated. I'll just be honest with you, brother. I was playing it today, got to that boss, and when I got to that boss, it dawned on me. I was like, oh, bro. I feel like there's games 10 years ago that were doing a better, you know, combat experience than this game. And I'll be real, boys, I think nobody gives a fuck about Tristan. Tristan is one of the ugliest MCs I've ever seen in my life. I had some 7 Deadly Sins fans going, man, you should see him in his adult form. I'm like, well, brother, they should have, you telling me that? No, they should have put his ass in the adult form instead of putting him in the kid form with an 11-year-old girl that they had this censorship for. Built like a goddamn matured woman. Like, there's all kind of crazy shit going on with this. And I'll be real, maybe it's the author. The author's on that weird shit, bro. He be on that weird shit in the show too. I don't even know, man. But those are all my thoughts, bro. Y'all comment down below. Listen, man, if you enjoy the game, good for you. But I'll be real, boys, that game is a solid 5 out of 10 at most. It's gonna wrap it up. Peace, love, and happiness. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys on the flip side.